Hello, 7th grade. Today's video is going to be a lesson on how to draw in 2-point perspective. And to get started today, I want to introduce the materials we're going to be working with. The first thing you're going to need today is a ruler. And believe it or not, we aren't going to be using the ruler for measurement purposes. We actually only need it today for the straight edge. So if you don't happen to have a ruler today, the edge of a book, the edge of a folder, anything with a straight edge that you can use to draw straight lines will be helpful. I'm a huge fan of clear plastic rulers. They are my favorite drawing ruler. The other thing that you're going to need today is a nice sharp pencil. I know some of you are huge fans of mechanical pencil. It's not my favorite drawing tool, but if you love mechanical pencil, today's activity is going to be perfect for that. I'm a huge fan of Dixon Ticonderoga. I think they are the best drawing pencil available to anyone. They are my all-time favorite. So I've got a nice brand new one here. And then I always keep a couple extra on the side just in case my pencil breaks. So I'm all set to go if I have a little breakage. Today, as we draw in 2-point perspective, we are going to start with the most basic shape that you can draw in perspective. So the idea behind perspective is that you are going to be drawing on a 2-dimensional surface, but your drawing is going to appear 3-dimensional. And the form that we're going to be drawing today is a box. So I have a little box here today of thumbtacks. I like to sometimes have a visual representation of what I'm drawing. And we want to make our flat surface look like it's 3-dimensional. And the box that you're going to draw today is going to be oriented in a way where the corner of that box is facing the viewer. So some of you are familiar with 1-point perspective, which we learned last year. 1-point perspective means that the flat side or a face of the box is pointing to the viewer. We are going to be drawing a box as though it's kind of tilted at an angle and the corner is going to be pointing towards the viewer. So in order to get started, I'm going to set that aside. In order to get started, I first need to figure out where the viewer's eye level is going to be. If you want it to look like you have a very high up vantage point, we are going to create something called a horizon line, and that horizon line will be higher up if you would like it to appear as though the viewer is higher up on the page. If you would like a lower vantage point, we are going to add a line that lowers the viewer's point of view. So for people who are just starting out, I always recommend working right in the middle of the page. You don't have to measure it, but we want to be pretty close to the center of the page, and we are going to draw from one side to the other, and this is going to create a horizon line. And a horizon line is a line that represents where the sky meets the ground. So anything up here today is going to resemble sky or represent sky, and everything down here is going to be the ground. Now another name for the horizon line is the eye level. Oop, and that's why I keep extra. So my eye level is the same thing as my horizon line. The next thing we need to include are 2 vanishing points. So last year when we learned 1-point perspective, you were used to putting a single vanishing point right in the middle of the page. This year we're using 2 vanishing points, and we are going to push those to the very outer edge. So I'm going to put a vanishing point on the right edge of the paper and a vanishing point on the left edge. And I'm just going to write a little VP to represent vanishing point, vanishing point. Now you might be wondering what a vanishing point actually is. Now a vanishing point is just an imaginary point in the distance where parallel lines appear to recede. And that's not going to make a lot of sense yet, but it will, trust me. So these are going to represent invisible points in the distance where parallel lines appear to fade off. Those are going to come into play right now. So because I'm drawing a box, and I know that the box I'm drawing is going to be angled in a way where a corner is pointing towards us, we are going to draw a line to represent that corner. Now, we've already done a horizontal line. This is going to be our first vertical line in the drawing. When I'm getting started, I like to start down below. So for today, I'm going to start my first box Let's do it on the lower half, and I'm going to move a little bit to the left side. So to start my box, you can create a vertical line. You always want to make sure that your ruler is running parallel to the left or right side of the page. That's going to make sure that your ruler is vertical. And I'm just going to create a very simple vertical line. That vertical line creates the corner of my first box. Once that vertical line has been established, now I'm going to start interacting with my vanishing points. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to line it up so that my ruler connects the top of that vertical line to my left vanishing point. You could do left or right, doesn't matter which one you start with. For today, I'm going to start with the left. Now, when I'm drawing with a ruler, I always like to make sure that I use kind of my whole hand when I'm holding the ruler in place. If you just kind of hold it down with a single pointed finger, it can create a pivot, which can create a wobbly line. So, it seems simple, but it's just a great trick to use several fingers when you're studying your ruler. So what I'm doing here is I'm connecting a line from my vanishing point to the top of that vertical line. I'm going to do the very same thing from the other side. So I'm connecting the top of my vertical line and I'm going to my vanishing point. Awesome. I'm going to do the same thing now from the bottom of that line. So I'm going to go to the left, making sure my ruler is steady. I'm connecting the line to the dot, just like that. Same thing now to the right side. Awesome. So what I've created now is something that resembles like a wall, the corner of a wall running off to the distance, or the corner of a fence running off into the distance. What I want to do is I want to end this so that I can create a cropped small shape. We don't want it completely fading off into infinity. So I want to end it. In order to end it, I'm going to use more vertical lines. So I've got my vertical line that represents a corner pointing towards us. Now I want to create the corner on the right side. So your vertical line is going to determine where your box ends. So if I want to create a box that's really long, I would move that vertical line farther back. If I wanted to create a really small cropped box, I would keep it closer to the original vertical line. I want to keep this one looking similar to a cube. So I'm going to draw a vertical line there. I'm going to do the same thing on the left. Again, if I want it long, I would move it back. If I want it short, I'd keep it closer to the front. For this one, I'm just going to make a nice vertical, just like that. So now I've got something that resembles like a folder or an open book. I am going to erase away my guidelines. These are just a helpful tool to make sure that you are lining up to your vanishing points. So I drew them pretty lightly because I wanted to be able to erase them away. Clean that off. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just so you get a better idea of where I'm headed with this box. Beautiful. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to finish my box by giving it a roof. And the reason that this box has a roof is it's below our eye level. So this box is lower than where our eyes are, which means we're going to be able to look down and see onto the roof. So in order to create a roof here, I'm going to be using my vanishing points again, but I'm going to be using the opposite vanishing point. So I'm going to start from this upper right corner. In order to close off the roof, I need to go to the left vanishing point. I don't want to go to the right, that's not going to help me at all. So I'm going to run from that corner to the vanishing point, and this time I'm going to teach you a trick. If you're running to your vanishing point, as long as your ruler is lined up properly, you don't need to go the entire way. You can go just part of the way. I'm going to do the same thing going back. And where those lines cross represents the back corner of this roof. Now, I don't need those guidelines anymore. I'm going to erase those out. And there I have my first box. I really enjoy coming back to retrace. I like to have really thick black lines in my drawings. You do not have to do this, but I'm going to do it maybe just to make it a little bit more visible to those of you watching. All right, just so you can see. Beautiful. Okay, so I've got one box here. Now I'm going to do something very similar, except this time I'm going to put my next box up in the sky. So it's going to look similar, but a little bit different. So to create this box, I'm going to start again with another vertical. And I think this box I'll make a little bit wider and flatter. So I'm going to start with a vertical line, and I'm going to follow the same rules. I'm going to go from the top of that line to the vanishing point. And you will notice that even though I'm getting the hang of this and I'm going a little bit quicker, I'm always using my ruler. This method really isn't effective unless you're using a straight edge. So please don't freehand your lines. I promise you it's going to just create more trouble down the line. You want this to be as accurate as possible to create that 3D illusion. So what I'm doing here is the same as before, where I've gone to both vanishing points from the top of the line, both vanishing points from the bottom of the line, and now I have to determine how wide I want my box to be. I think I said I'd make this one kind of wide and flat, so I'm going to move my vertical line a little farther back in the distance on both sides. I don't need those guidelines. So now here's another similar floating folder in the sky. Get rid of my guidelines. We don't want those confusing us. Now this box is different than the original one because this one is floating in the sky. So we are going to see the left side, the right side, and then also the underside. Because it's above our eye level, we're going to be able to look up underneath it. So in order to create that, we're going to do the same thing we did with the roof, just on the underside of the box. So I'm going to connect the left corner to the right vanishing point, and then the right corner to the left vanishing point, just like that. And again, where those two lines cross, that represents the far corner of my box. And then I want to clean that up, get rid of the lines I don't need. No matter how good you get at perspective, there's always an element of erasing, so be prepared to have your eraser out. Now, the next box I want to show you is one that is placed on the horizon line. So it's going to straddle the horizon line. It's going to go above our eye level and below at the same time. So let's do that one right here. So this one, my vertical is going to start below and end above. The rules are the same. I'm going to start at the top, go to the right vanishing point, go to the left vanishing point. I'm going to do the same thing from the bottom of my vertical. Just like that. So you can see it goes above and below. I want to end. I'm going to make this one, make it look like a nice big block. So for this particular box, it's going to be a little different because we can only see two sides of this box. We can see the left side and the right side, and I'm going to erase these lines to make that visual a little more clear. I'm going to even erase the line running through it because we don't want our box to look transparent. Or at least not for this drawing. So this box does not have a visible roof because it's too high. We can't see onto the roof. And because it's below our eye level, we can't see underneath either. So if you are ever walking down the street or in a city or looking at houses, most of the buildings are going to appear this way, where it's too tall for you to see on top, and of course it comes below your eye level and you can't see underneath. So this particular box only has a visible left side and right side. When it's above the eye level, we can see three sides. We can see the left, the right, and the bottom. And of course, if it's below the vanishing point, we can see the left, right, and the top. Now, I'm going to show you one more box here because a lot of kids get a little bit hung up when they create a box that's very close to the horizon line but doesn't quite touch. So I'm going to create a box right here. We'll do a tall one. And this box is going to come very, very close to the horizon line, but not quite there. I'm going to go to the vanishing point from the top, both vanishing points. Same thing from the bottom, both vanishing points. I'm going to end it here with a vertical line that should hopefully look familiar to you. I'm going to get rid of my guidelines. I don't need those. It's super important to get rid of these. You don't want a million lines running over your paper and confusing you, particularly if you're new to this process. Okay, so now this box is below the eye level, but we're not going to see a whole lot of it. So I'm going to show you what happens when the roof is very close to the horizon line. I'm going to go to the left vanishing point from the right corner and the right vanishing point from the left corner. Of course, where they cross is the far corner. There you go. So what happens here, when the roof of your box is very close to the horizon line, you're not going to see a whole lot of it. It's not because it's a small roof or it's very skinny, it's simply that the angle that you're viewing it doesn't allow you to see a whole lot of it. The farther down a box is, the more of the roof you will be able to see. So if I were to move this box down farther or to draw a box lower on the page, I would see even more of that roof. The closer it gets to the eye level, the less of that roof you are going to see. Now, we are just going to be practicing with boxes for the next few days. This is your opportunity to play around with different placements, and I promise you, learning this technique is going to make a huge difference in your drawing abilities. For me, it opened up a whole world. It makes drawing cars, houses, furniture, even food a whole lot easier because the box is just a basic form that we have everywhere in our everyday life. And when you know how to draw it in 3D, it really, really, really can transform your artwork. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening, and good luck to you as you practice.